Okay, we went through the rocket stove last time I talked, and so I'm going to go through some more of how you put it together. I made some wrong moves on that other one. Now, if you remember, we used a gallon type tin. Now, this could be a round other than square. It's just that I found the square one and originally did that back in the older days. But now these containers are a little hard to find. So, like I say, you can use a round container or square, so at least a gallon tin type. We used an elbow. Now these are 4-inch diameter elbow, and that's going to be part of the stove. And this is an extension. When this comes to this hole right here, this part, from the inside, it will be a little sharp coming up to the top, so you have to put an extension on it. Now we got the extension added to it. This goes into this, and it lines up with this hole, so this part, I've got a little rivet put right here, so I got a stop on it. Will come out to the front. To set up so that it's right in the center, and it's a little lower than this by about 1 inch below the actual top of the lid or this. Then when I fill this full of insulator, this can be Formica, it can be in the old days they used to use ashes after their fire. Just get a bunch of the white ashes and fill it full of that, or you can also use a sand, but it makes it a lot heavier when you use that. But the ashes keeps it quite light, and the Formica keeps it quite light. Inside full of Formica, underneath the unit all the way around that, and it'll hold it there. Then we take the lid that we cut off, and it's built so that it fits on the top, but the other lid will not come through this. I want it just to sit down on it about 1 inch down inside. So it'll look. Then they have the fire platform that goes into this, and it allows air to go underneath to give it oxygen for burning. Then we put a grill on. We talked about making out of that, or you could use a welding rod, put the little holes in it, something similar to this type here, which is a smaller version. So we take this and put it on that there. That'll hold our pans. Gives us plenty of area for the heat. And if we're in a spot where we got a lot of wind going, we can take another unit. Oh no, that's not the one. I didn't more than the same thing I got here without these on it. You got your cup turning away, and you want to keep the heat around it more. Then I put another one cut off longer than this one. I didn't notice I didn't have it till we got started filming, but it's nothing more than a number 10 can cut off, and the purpose of that, it brings the heat in around the cup itself and keeps the wind from blowing it away from you. This is a number 10 can. Okay, now we're going to cook with it. We would bring this water to a boil. If you're going to cook beans or rice, these take a lot of heat, a lot of time to cook. And so they came up with the idea of putting in what they call a straw box, which was nothing more than a wooden box with straw in it. And once it came to a boil with the food in it, or the rice or the beans in it, just because it came to a boil, don't mean you can just throw your rice in and then put it in. That takes too much heat away from the cooking time. You've got to bring it to a boil with the rice or beans in it, or whatever can take a longer time for cooking. Then you take it, put the lid on it. This lid is made by taking a larger size can and then cutting and bending them down. And I've got two little slots off on each end so they fit over where the handle, the pickup is. Now we got it sealed in, and I got a wooden handle on here screwed on so I can take it off. Bring it to a boil with the rice beans in it, and then it's placed into the straw box and left for 6 to 7 hours. Or you can, without a straw box, you get sealed foam, and I've got a full inch of foam in layers, or you can buy one piece that's large enough. In this case I had this around, so I used it, and I built it up. It's got the full inch of insulation underneath and around the sides. Then I put my unit in, and then I take another one, and it's got a 1 inch of the top. This is just a single layer because it's nothing more than a sealer lid. It puts down over everything like that. And when you come back several hours later, up to 8 hours, it should be ready to go. Or you could put cereal that had to be cooked. Of course, you have to make a larger as you make more volume, but just for a couple or a little camping outfit, this turns into a neat way to cook things. It takes a lot of heat. Now when nothing's in it, it can be folded up to a very small size. There's hardly any weight to it at all. It's easy to have to pack with you. So that's the cooking ways of using these things. Now, as I showed before, this one here is usually used for a large family where you're going to be cooking a lot. If you really want to make a giant one, you could take a 25-gallon container and make it in a giant size, which take a lot more wood. So this is the first size for larger. This one here is a small one for just a couple of people, or you want to make your own private camping one. Easy to put in your pack and take with you. That completes this portion of working with the rocket stove. I meant to mention that you can also put clay in these smaller ones. Then as the can rusts away, because the tin can ain't going to last a whole long time, but as it rusts away, you can break it away, and the heat will set the clay into a solid, I can't think of the term. When you heat clay, it turns into like a glass, ceramic. So as it gets hot, then you've made your ceramic outfit. So that's the rocket stove. Then I talked about how you could make them primitive, just out of wood. You can split a log 4 ways, or split a log down and drill out a hole, drill a hole in, and then put the tube back together again. You can literally make this. Then the wood will gradually burn itself out, so it won't be something you use over and over again too much. The next stove we're going to move down into is a little simpler than this type of stove that I went through here. We go into an easy camping stove that can be used for multi-uses. And so we're going to take again and make ourselves this little cooking outfit out of just a tin can. this is how to live out of a dumpster. Just trash and garbage that's thrown away. You don't have to buy a titanium $70 cook outfit to use. This would last you for quite a few camps, or by the time you're Boy Scout, just starting off in scouting, could have the skill of building one of these things and take the time. And then by the time he'd burn that out, he'd be on his own by then, and he'd just buy his own titaniums. Now we've got, this is the stove part of this, and it's a tin can that has a slot at the top. That's the chimney, and that slot's about a ½ inch. And behind the slot on the back side is a larger slot, higher. That's the fire pit. That's where you put your fuel in for the fire. And this is the cooking surface up here for bacon and eggs, something you want to cook. That's your bottom of a pan. Now you're going to add liquids to it for cooking, then that's what this was made for. Now this is an oven and also a cooking utensil. I'll start off with the simple part. If it's just for heating up water, it's that way. But if you're going to want to cook something, we're going to turn it into an oven. So to do that, we take small rocks and the bottom of it. Then I take the top off of this and bend it up like that on the sides all the way around. That's to hold the dough. Now I could take make a single biscuit or a big biscuit, and that prevents it from burning as it's cooking. The rocks are going to be getting hot, transferring the hot to that, and meanwhile the inside area is holding the heat, and it'll cook that, bake that nice and brown, just like you did in an oven at home. Nice thing about it, after it's done, I can take my biscuit out, and I've got the hot rocks, and I can take cold water and pour it over the hot rocks. Let it set for a few minutes. That water will be next to a boil, if not a boil. Then you put your soup mix in, or whatever you want hot water for, or just for a drink. And you got a roll to eat with it, made off the same type of outfit. And so the next time we're going to get together, we're going to physically take these and use them on a fire. We'll make a fire, put them on it. I'll do two ways. I'll cook it on a propane type stove, and then I'll cook it in just a campfire type stove. So you can see how easy they are to work with.